Welcome to the Teacher's Compass podcast. I'm your host, Louise Schwartz, a former teacher turned life coach, and I'm here to offer guidance, direction and practical support for teachers and teaching assistants who are feeling overwhelmed or questioning their place in education. Hello and welcome back. How are you all? How has your week been? So I have spent quite a bit of time this week thinking about who I am. Yeah, it's a big question, isn't it, that one? Who am I? With finishing teaching a few months ago, it's taken me this long to approach that question and not automatically go to, I'm a teacher. Because I think you've spent so long, I've spent 20 years being a teacher. My automatic reaction is, I am a teacher. That's who I am. If somebody asks me, who are you? What do you do? I'm a teacher. But actually, I'm not a teacher anymore. And so it does take a little while to readjust. And so I'm still constantly thinking to myself, well, who am I? What do I want to do? And who am I going to help in life if I'm not teaching anymore? There's all these kind of big burning life questions. Well, I don't know if I'll ever find the answer to some of them, but I'm trying my best to kind of come up with some, ways to deal with that lack of teaching without that being there. Who am I? What is my purpose? Well, I'm kind of hoping my purpose is now switching from helping children and teaching children to helping teachers. So that is my purpose. I've been in a very dark place as a teacher, and I want to help other teachers that are in that place to get out of it and to see that actually there is a light at the end of the tunnel and you don't have to work through these things on your own. So I'm getting there. I feel like I'm working out my new purpose as I kind of, move into this separate section of my life, this different part now as I'm moving into, middle age. I don't like to say middle age, but I really am. So it's not a midlife crisis though. I'm not looking at it as a midlife crisis. I'm looking at it as a midlife challenge. And who am I going to help in my midlife challenge? Who am I going to support? And who am I going to, pull through the dark places that some other people might be in? I've been looking into something called human design. So some of you may have already heard of this. It's quite an old concept, really, but it's based on your star chart from when you were born. And it gives you a sense of who you are and what you're capable of. And if you use your abilities for the best, then actually what you can achieve in life. So as I say, I've been doing some soul searching and some working out who am I, and this human design idea has really helped me. I'm doing a masterclass this week with somebody who is talking about how you can use your personal human design to its fullest to help others, which is exactly what I want to do. So I'm going to tune into that this week and see if I can use this human design idea of who I am to build my, future going forward. That sounds very bold and very big, doesn't it? But yeah, I feel like that's what I want to do. So if you're interested in human design, there's loads of different things if you just Google it on the web. But there's a website called My Human Design, and the lady that runs that is a lady called Jenna Zoe, and she has also got an app. So I've downloaded the app and I've put my details in, which is my date of birth and my time of birth. And then it gives you all sorts of information, which is scarily accurate as to who you are and the type of person you are and what you enjoy doing. And there's so much information, even down to the way you like to eat. Well, it's fascinating. Honestly, it's really fascinating. So if you're at all spiritual and interested in any of these sorts of things, then I would definitely recommend having a look into human design. It's kind of helping me to find some answers, which I've found quite comforting over the last few weeks. So yeah, it's an interesting thing to look into. It's made me realise that, as I said, I want to help teachers and I want to be able to share what I've been through and encourage other teachers to realise that it's okay to have lost your way a little bit and maybe, be down that sort of dark mental health path where you don't know who you are, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know why you're teaching even more anymore. But I want to be able to help those people to get their spark back and to be the person that they used to be. I think sometimes teaching just beats it out of you, doesn't it? But your spark is in there. You just got to find it again. So that's what I want to do. I want to help other teachers find that spark. There's a lot of talk these days in the media about this word burnout. And honestly, I've sort of brushed it off for quite a while, but it's actually occurred to me this week that that is exactly what I suffered earlier on this year. That burnout, I don't know, it makes it sound so drastic, but I don't think it really feels like that when you're in it. It's just little things. But when you look back, you think, yeah, actually, I have definitely been burnt out. Burnt out emotionally, physically, mentally, everything. I just got to a point where I thought, I just don't want to get out of bed. That was where I was at. Every morning going into school, I just could not drag myself out of bed. I don't want to do this. I don't want to get up, and I don't want to face the day. I think that for me, that is burnout, is that I don't want to carry on. Not to the point where you're thinking suicidal thoughts at all, but where you just want to bury your head under your pillow and stay under that duvet all day and not face life and face the day. So it's taken a good couple of months for me to recover from that. And I think leaving teaching has definitely helped me to do that. But I do know that there's a lot of teachers that are in that place but don't want to leave teaching. They still are, want to be a teacher, to make a difference, to help children, to work with children. And so I think maybe what we need to try and do is work on not getting so far down the line to that's the point where you're at, where you just don't want to do it anymore. You've got to be able to put yourself first, which is a huge thing for teachers, because who does that? Who puts themselves first? Definitely not teachers or anybody that's in a caring profession like that. You are always thinking about other people. If you're a parent, that's even more so, isn't it? Because you're putting your own children first. You're putting the children first that you teach. And, you're sort of like down the pack, like maybe third or fourth on the list. But think about if you've ever been on an aeroplane and they go through the safety procedure, what do they tell you to do if an oxygen mask falls down? They always tell you to put that oxygen mask on first before helping anybody else. Have a think about why. Why do you need to put that oxygen mask on you before you help anyone else? Because if you're not in a fit state, you can't help anybody else. And I think as teachers, we need to remember that if we don't put ourselves first, we can't do the job that we want to do to the best of our ability, because we are handicapped by the fact that we're not looking after ourselves. So if you're in a place where you are struggling to cope day to day, you've got to put yourself first. You've got to start looking after you so that you can look after others. Think about that oxygen mask analogy. Have that oxygen mask on you first. Look after you. Do what you need to do. Protect your mental health and your physical health, and then you can help others. Now, this week, I have been listening in to something called Invisible Fest. I don't even know how to describe it other than a fabulous gathering of some absolutely amazing human beings this week. So it was organised by a lady called Maddy Alexander-Grout, she's quite big on TikTok, but she's also got other social media presences. But she has ADHD and she works with a lot of neurodiverse business owners and people to get visible. But she's just a fantastic lady, and she's put together this 2-day event online in this space that she called the Maddyverse, which was absolutely incredible. It was so colourful and bright, and it was ultimately just like Zoom, but on speed. It was just fantastic. And there was all these different people that were giving talks about lots of different things. One of the people that I listened into was Suzanne Shaw. Now, if you're the same age as me, you will probably remember Suzanne Shaw from a band called Hearsay. Do you remember Hearsay back in the day? I don't even think it wasn't Britain's Got Talent. It wasn't X Factor. I think it was probably something called Pop Stars. That's how long ago I'm talking. Mylene Class was also in Hearsay. But anyway, I digress. Suzanne Shaw was talking at Invisible Fest. I think she did her talk on Thursday. And one of the things that she said really kind of hit me and made me think, wow, that's why teachers are so burnt out. Because she was talking about 3/8 and dividing her day and her time into 3/8. So she has 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of family time, and 8 hours of work. So her 24-hour period of her day is divided into those 3 equal sections. Okay. Now, I know I can hear you saying it as I'm speaking. I can hear all those teachers going, well, that's impossible. I totally agree. Absolutely. Because an 8-hour working day is actually only, 8 till 4. Okay. So if you started work at 8, you started being in the classroom at 8, then you'd be finished by 4, and that's your 8-hour day. I get it. That is impossible. But it did make me think, then teachers probably need to have in their mind an absolute cut-off time limit that is their working day. And I think sometimes as teachers, that's where we go wrong. We've got such a massive to-do list that you are constantly trying to get on top of ticking everything off your to-do list. Well, honestly, newsflash, I don't think that's even possible, is it? You're always going to have a to-do list and you're never going to clear everything off. It's all about working smarter and harder to minimize the amount of time you spend on that to-do list. So here was my thinking. Not many teachers get 8 hours sleep. I think when I was teaching, I'd probably have been happy with maybe 6 or 7 hours sleep. But if we can work towards 8, even better. If you were to do, say, a 10-hour day, Monday to Friday, 10-hour work day, that's 8 till 6, okay? Or that's 8 till 4, and then go and get your kids from school, or go home and have your tea and have a chill, and then those extra couple of hours in an evening on your laptop. But ultimately, you should not be working more than a 10-hour day in the week, I don't think, because I don't think that's healthy. It's not sustainable either, is it? What you need to do is protect that time that is the family time or your chill time for you. That's the time that gets eaten away. The longer you spend working, the less time you've got to do what you want to do and spend that time with your family, on your own, on the sofa, whatever it is that you're doing with that time. And I think as teachers, we feel guilty for taking that time, but I don't know why we should feel guilty, because we're entitled to it. You are entitled to have 8 hours to yourself to do with whatever you wish. So don't think that you've got to work a 12, 14-hour day every day and not take any family time, because it's not sustainable, it's not healthy, and it's ultimately, it is going to lead to that burnout, isn't it? So think about your sort of Monday to Friday week, as it were. If you have 10 hours of working, you are still entitled to 6 hours to do whatever you want to do. Choose those 6 hours wisely and enjoy them. Look forward to them. Plan something in that time that is going to help you to switch off from work. If you're working at the weekend, you need to set a time limit on how long you're going to spend working. Because again, it's not healthy getting up on a Sunday thinking, right, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do the other, and then spending sort of 6 hours on a Sunday working. Because again, that's not sustainable, is it? It's not fair on you to have to spend that time working. And I know that means, I can hear you saying it and I can hear you thinking it. I know that means that all of those things on your to-do list aren't going to get done. So what you need to do is prioritise what's on that to-do list and what needs to be done now, and then what can wait. Because it will still be there, won't it? And you'll still be able to do that, tomorrow or the next day. But don't spend all of your free time thinking, I've got to be working. Now, I know you're saying that's easy for you to say, Louise. And when I was teaching, I would kind of go, yeah, right, okay, whatever. because you know full well you've got to get all those things done. However, looking at it now, having been through what I've been through over the last few years, it's not healthy. And you shouldn't be expected to be working that many hours. We need to start saying no. If people are asking us to do things and it's going to take that family time away, that free time away, and you're having to work extra hours of work, you are entitled to say no. You don't have to sacrifice your time for a job, which at the end of the day, teaching is a job, isn't it? Well, it's a vocation, it's a career, it's a lifestyle. It's one of those things that as a teacher, you accept that it's not just a job. But in reality, it is a job. And if you were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, school would replace you within a couple of weeks. And that is the sad truth, that it is just a job. Try to take the emotional attachment out of it and just think, it's a job. What do I need to do in order to do my job to the best of my ability? X, Y, Z, the rest can wait. So that is I feel like I've been ranting a little bit there, but I do feel that as teachers, we need to be better at protecting our time and saying, no, I'm not going to do that right now. I am actually going to enjoy and switch off and have a bit of time doing what I want to do, whatever that is. I quite like going for a walk with the dog. It's quite nice to just sit on the sofa. We've sat and watched a series this weekend. Sadly, the next episode is not out till Thursday, which is very frustrating. But you are allowed to have that time. There should not be any guilt attached to having that time to yourself and enjoying that time. Right? So maybe this week, go and have a sit down and a think. How many hours are you going to spend working? And how many hours of your kind of me time are you going to sacrifice and give to work? Personally, I would say it's got to be absolutely minimal. Don't get sucked into give, because school will take, won't they? Okay, the more you give, the more gets taken. And that level of kind of work ethic isn't sustainable if you just keep knocking off your free time, right? What do you enjoy doing for your free time? What could you prioritise this week that you're going to say I'm going to have 3 hours on that evening to do that? What is it that you would love to do that you feel like you haven't got time to do because you're a teacher? What would you love to do? Do it. Say to yourself, right, that evening, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing, the marking that's got to be done. I'll try and get that done in my lunch break instead, or I'll do it the following morning, or I'll leave it till the weekend. What are you going to do to enjoy that bit of time? Time is awesome, isn't it? It lets us do everything we want to do. But as a teacher, I always used to feel like I couldn't fit anything in that I wanted to do until I got to half term, until I got to the next holiday. You can't live like that though, can you? That's not healthy to be always working to the next holiday and thinking, oh, I'll do that at half term. Take back your time. Start saying no. As a profession, things are never going to change in a grand scheme unless more teachers turn around and say, no, I'm not going to do that. It's going to take up my time that you are entitled to. So say no. Learn to say no. And no is a full sentence, isn't it? It doesn't need to be no with an excuse. Just say, no, sorry, I can't do that. Move on. It's a nice idea, isn't it? But I think we really need to try harder to actually do those things. So that is my little kind of advice this week. Say no to a few more things. Say yes to doing what you want to do. And prioritise that to-do list to just get done the absolute necessary of what needs to be done. Right? There's always some things on our to-do list that we could leave until another day. So leave it until another day. Enjoy your time. I am going to enjoy my afternoon this afternoon. I am going to sit and watch a film. Because why not? Why not? It's taken me a long time to be able to switch off and relax and enjoy that time. But it's definitely something that we all need to work on doing, taking back that time, not giving everything to our job, and having a little bit of time for us and for our families. So, thank you so much for listening again to our episode 7 of the podcast. I am working on some interesting things in the background that I'm hoping I can share with you in a couple of weeks. So, watch this space. Some exciting stuff going on. Right, have a lovely week. Prioritise you and your time. Let's do it. Have a good one. See you soon. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Teacher's Compass. If you found this episode helpful, click on the link in the show notes for some more resources and support. Don't forget to leave a review on whichever app you choose to listen to us on. Your feedback helps us to reach more teachers just like you. See you next time.